Good afternoon, GIS scholars. How you doing? Where is everybody? There's only 5 people on the live stream. Well, last time I checked, there was more than 5 people in the class. What's going on there? All right, guys. Well, today we're going to be looking at some material that you would find in Chapter 4 of your textbook, Getting to Know ArcGIS Pro. And this material deals with a new aspect of GIS. To this point, we have been focused on taking data that someone else has gathered, has created, and making maps with it, and doing some analysis. We'll do more of that later this semester. But we've been focused on using data that's pre-existing data. So in Chapter 4, we take a look at, well, what if you want to create your own data set? Or you have some data, but you want to change it, you want to modify it, there's features that you want to add, or remove, or merge, or modify in some way. So we're going to do some of that today, and we won't hit every point in Chapter 4, but we'll get the big ones. And so let's do it. All right. I felt like there was something else I wanted to tell you, but I can't remember. So let's do this. All right. Got any questions? Put them in the comments. All right. Now we got 12 of you. I still know there's more people in this class. I may not know all of your names yet. It's in week 4 of the semester. That's a first for me. But I know there's more than 12 people in this class. All right. So next week is the practicum, a week from tomorrow. So make sure you're thinking about that. Okay, so let's get started here. Let's go to my desktop, and I got ArcGIS Pro open here, and I'm going to open up a project that is supplied with the materials that came with the textbook. So let's see if I can find it. I have all the data from Esri Press in here, Getting to Know ArcGIS Pro. Yeah, so it's in this folder, City Maintain, which I guess is short for maintenance. Oh, there it is. So here's a project, ArcGIS Pro project file, City Maintain. So I'm going to open that, and we'll take a look at what we got going on here. So, well, there's not much in it. Looks like it's focused in on a city called Gresham, which is in Oregon. And okay, now let's go to the catalog, see what we got here. Is there any folder connections? Yes, this project has a connection to City Maintain folder. And what we got in here? We got some data. There's a geodatabase with a lot of stuff in it already. I think what I want to do, I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to delete everything from the database here because I want to start fresh. All right, empty database. All right, so when you create a new project in ArcGIS Pro, it creates a geodatabase of the same name, but it's empty. If you ever explore this, if you right-click on this in the database, you can go to this tab New, and you can add. You can't see that, it's going off the screen here, but it says you can add a new feature data set, feature class, table, and some other stuff. So you can actually create. You can create a feature class from scratch, which means, let's say that you want to start marking the location of trash cans on Shepherd University campus. You could create a feature class called trash cans inside of a geodatabase, and that feature class would contain point vector data that's of point the point data, vector data that's point data. It's just the locations of the trash cans. All right, so I wanted to clear that out though because I wanted to show you that the stuff that's in this data folder is our shape files, and it's good practice when you're using ArcGIS Pro, any Esri product, is to convert shape files to their native Arc to feature classes inside of geodatabases. So there's a couple ways you can do that. One way you can do it is drag this to your map. So these are the locations of fire hydrants in this city. And then it creates a map layer, and if you right click on that, you can do data, export features, and then the export features tool allows you to export those features to a geodatabase of your choosing. What else could you do? You could use that tool directly. If you click on the analysis tools pane, you can search for feature to feature. Maybe that's not right. Just type in feature. There it is. Feature class to feature class. You could do feature or feature to database. I gotta spell better. Feature to database. I think there's a tool in here somewhere called feature to database. I don't know if you guys are getting the picture here, but ArcGIS Pro has so many tools built into it, it's oftentimes hard to find what you're looking for. There it is, feature class to geodatabase. So you could use that tool. But you know, there's an easier way here. What I like to do is, okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 shape files here. I'm just gonna select them all. Hold down Shift and select them all. And I right click and do export feature classes to geodatabase. So right there is a link to the tool. You can't see that, it's going off the screen. So, but under export, there's an option, feature classes to geodatabase. And I click on that, and so each of these feature classes is now selected. It's the same tool that we just found in the tools pane. And we want to put these shape files as feature classes in our geodatabase citymaintain.gdb. And so I'll run it. All right. So it's running right now, and it's done. That didn't take long. Okay, so we'll close that pane, and now let's open up let me right click and refresh so we can see it. There they are. So now I have feature classes inside my geodatabase that were created from each of those shape files. So fire hydrants are points, vector points, water lines are vector lines, water pressure zones are polygons, and wells are points. Let's put them all on. Select them all and just drag them onto my map. Here we go. Let's do a little bit with the symbology. Let's just change that to a black outline. Wells. Oh, I don't know. Let's use the circle. Water lines. Let's make it blue instead of green. Nice blue. There we go. Fire hydrants. Let's pick a different symbol. I don't know. What looks like a fire hydrant? Maybe this triangle. Oh, that's a little bit overkill. Diamonds. Black triangles. There we go. Okay. We could play with this all day to our symbology. Let's stick with that. Okay, so what do we got here? We got locations of these polygons outline water pressure zones. So presumably this town has the municipal department that controls the water resources in this town has a system that partitions the city into these water pressure districts, so they probably have some sort of independent control over the water pressure parameters in the water pipes and valves, using valves in these areas of the system. And we got the wells, and we got fire hydrants. So as you see when I'm clicking here, I want to click on this fire hydrant, but I can't click on it. I could use the select tool and drill down. But another thing you can do is in here, in the contents pane, if you change the view to list by selection, you can actually turn off things that you don't want to be selectable. So I can turn off wells. I'll just leave on water lines and fire hydrants for now. Now if I come back here, now if I click, gotta get my select tool. Now if I click down here, see I can click on water lines or fire hydrants, but I can't click on wells. And I can't click on these water pressure zones. I could also, come in here in the contents pane, list by editing. If I don't want to be able to change or edit these features, I can click them off here. So in the drawing order view of the contents pane, that's where you can turn on and off layers. And in these other tabs in the contents pane, you can control whether or not the features are editable or not. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's see. All right, so here's something new. Here's something new in this chapter. And maybe, let's paint a picture here where maybe you are out in the field with on the Shepherd University campus with a handheld GPS unit. And you go and you stand next to each trash can and you say, record, which means acquire your data point. So the GPS device, handheld, you can do this on your phone these days. There's apps you can do this on your phone because every phone has a GPS receiver in it. It's not going to be super accurate, within 10 meters of actual location, but for a lot of applications, that's plenty good. So you're standing next to a trash can and you say record, and you record that point, and that records a latitude and longitude to a table inside of a file inside your cell phone. And so you got this file, which is a table of values. And those values are latitude and longitude, or it could be the spatial positions using some sort of projected coordinate system, like UTM, Universal Transverse Mercator. But what's important is those are just numbers. There's you can't pull that table into ArcGIS Pro and expect there to be like dots that appear on your map where each of the trash cans are, because there's no geometry associated with that data. They're just numbers. But ArcGIS can do that for you. You can import a table of data and create a feature class out of that table. And so let's do that. That's something new here we haven't encountered before. So what we got here is in this data folder, there's this CSV file called vals.csv. And let's open it. And I'm not sure what that warning's there for. Oh well. let's proceed. So we open it up. What do we got here? We got a bunch of data. Looks like there's a column for valve type, valve size, valve usage, what kind of cover it has, lid type, is the valve good, is it working, what its position is, lots of stuff. But then you get over here to the end, and there's a column for point X and point Y. And these numbers in these columns correspond to map coordinates. And based on the values that are given here, they look like coordinates given in a projected coordinate system. And so let's see what one of our layers is doing here. Let's go over here, wells. Let's look at the properties of this wells. So this layer, wells, is using a projected coordinate system. It's using NAD 1983 State Plane Oregon North FIPS 3601 with US feet as units. So this is a projected coordinate system which is part of the State Plane system, and it is for this region of Oregon, northern Oregon. And it's a Lambert conformal conic projection. So that means it's designed to preserve area, but since it's tailored to this particular geographic region, it's really good at representing the fidelity of distances and shapes and all those other things if you're sufficiently large scale and significant or sufficiently zoomed in your map. All right, but this projection system has its own coordinate system. Let's go, here, let's close this. And let's see, Wells is turned on. Let's take a look at the properties here. So the map is also using the same coordinate system. NAD 1983, State Plane, Oregon, North, blah, blah, blah. And I can change what's being shown. So here you can see that if I change what the coordinates that are being shown to me down here at the bottom of the map to US feet, the numbers we're getting here are very similar to the numbers that we saw in that table. Let's open that up again. So we got number point X's in the 7 millions and point Y's in the 600,000s. And that's what we're seeing here. You can see that there. Okay, so that tells me that these X and Y coordinates in this table are given to me using the NAD 1983 State Plane projection for North Oregon. So if I pull these points into my map and tell ArcGIS to create point features for each of these points, I gotta also tell it which projection to use. So I'll just tell it to use the same projection as the Wells layer when I do that. And there's a tool to do this. It's up here. You search for tools, and it's got XY in the title. Let's see if we can do this. XY. Oh, there we go. Oh, I saw it. There it is. XY table to point. Okay. So our input table is the valves database. Let's create an output feature class just called valves from XY table to point. Why don't we just call it valves? The X field is X point, the Y field is Y point. Z, there's no elevation in this data. So we can't use CGS, WGS 1984. That's not the right coordinate system. Let's use the same coordinate system that the Wells data layer is using. NAD 1983 State Plane, Oregon. We've selected the correct coordinate system. Let's run this. And it's done. And so now let's turn off some of this other stuff. Turn on the water pressure zone. So now we've imported this, and it should be in my Let's go to the catalog. It should be in my database too. Let's refresh this. Yeah, it's there. It created a feature class in my database called vowels from this data. So that's kind of, those little pins aren't really working for me. Let's change it to something. Here, this diamond. There we go. That's what they're using in the textbook for vowels. Looks nice. Okay, so now we have these locations of vowels. All right, let's keep going. So let's go to the waterlines attribute table. Here's a new thing that is introduced in this chapter. In the attribute table, one of the columns is called P diam, and what do you think that means? P water lines. What could P be? Well, probably pipe. Diameter. I have no idea what the units are here. Probably inches, because this is America and we like inches. And so you look at the pipe diameter, and there's it looks like there's 12s, there's 8s, there's 6s, there's 4s, and that's it. That's it. And what that means is that well, water pipes only come in certain diameters. So we could actually, if we're going to create a GIS that other people are going to be able to edit and put in new features, might be a good idea to restrict the values that they can enter for the new features in the attribute table. So if you're going to like add a water line to your map, you want to make sure that the diameter of the water line can only be a 4, a 6, an 8, or a 12. And so in the attribute table you can do this, so let me show you how you go about doing this. If you click here and go to field view, in the field view, each row is now one of the columns in my attribute table. So there's a row for pipe diameter. You can see it can be a long integer, it's numeric, and so there's a column called domain. So let's click there, and then I'll do add new coded value domain. So I'm going to code the values that can be in this column. So over here, I'll put a 2. Wait, I don't think 2 was an option. 4, 6, 8, and 12. And for each of these I can put a description. So I'll just put the same numbers for now. But you could put more descriptive values in there. Okay, so I'll click out of that there, so they're all saved. And now close that out. It's already in here. I want to delete that. So I'm not sure why it was already in there. It might have been in from when I was fooling around with this before. Four, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6. No, not 2. 12. 12, 8. And we can make the default. Okay, so that should, okay, so that's all stick now. So I had to give it a name here. It doesn't like when I just do pipe. Oh, because it was already there. So I had done this earlier, so that's why it's already there. But I created domain. I call it pipe. You got to give it a name. And then over here, you can code in the values that are valid options for this attribute. And then make sure you click save, and that should come up. And then in the default column, you can select which one you want your default to be. So pick 4, the lowest value, and then click save. All right, so you can code defaults for attributes. You can code the range of possibilities or specific values that will be acceptable. So now someone is, if someone goes and tries to add a water line and they try to make the diameter 5, it won't work. It won't accept that. Okay. Let's keep moving. We're cruising now. All right, so let's close this out, and we'll go to one of the bookmarks that are established in this project. Let me save it here. We'll go to one of the bookmarks. It's called water lines. All right, so we'll turn on the water lines. Zoom in here. What do we got here? We got a valve, so we got valves and water lines here. Let me zoom out. And we'll turn off, well, we'll leave the water pressure, I'll turn off water pressure zone, and let's make everything water lines. Let's turn off valves, they're not selectable. Fire hydrants aren't selectable. So the only thing that's selectable are water lines, and the only thing that's editable is water lines. Okay, and then we'll come back here, and what we're going to do is there is a water line that exists from this region here down this street, Wright Place, from the corner of Wright Place and Southwest 19th Way down to here, and then it connects over with these valves over here. So we want to draw in that line. All right, so one thing I'll do is, let's go to Edit, Pane, and we'll go to the Snapping panel. So snapping is turned on, and what that's important. Snapping makes your cursor snap to features, and it makes it easier to edit. So we'll snap, I can turn on different aspects of snapping. So I'll snap, I'll turn on this button so it snaps to the nearest point on a feature, and I'll turn on this one so we tend to snap to vertices, like the corners here. So I'll click on that, okay, and make sure that this is turned on right there. All right, so snapping is turned on. All right, and let me zoom in right here to this corner. Well, let's select this and see what we get here. Take a look at the attributes. So this water line right here is well, let's zoom in here. Let's see what's going on here. So it looks like this water line just kind of goes into this vertex here, and that's it. But we know that there's a water line that goes through this valve as well. So we want to add that. All right, so let's go into, let's clear all selections. And let's go in here to, if we click this button that says Modify, let's see what we get. So in the Modify pane, you have all these tools, and if I select, let me select this guy right here, I could, like maybe I want to move this line or add a vertex. I can click the Edit Vertex button, and it will let me change this line, but we don't want to do that. we actually want to create a new water line. So let's clear our selection here. And I'll go into create, and in the create pane that comes up, you see that the only option in there are water lines, and the reason is because I have all these other, if I turn these, if I go into the contents pane under list by editing and turn these other things on, I can edit these other things as well. But I have them all turned off, so the only thing I can create or modify right now are water lines, and that's important. So I'm going to click water lines, and when I do that, this pane comes up with all these different options for creating lines. Remember, water lines are line features, lines. And then down here there's another pane. I think you can move this around. Maybe not. Okay. So I'm going to click on this tool, and snapping's turned off again. I don't know how I did that. Okay, so I turn it back on. So snapping's turned on, and you'll see if I want to create a water line that intersects right here at this vertex, if I get near that vertex, you see the text comes on, waterline vertex. That's the snapping tool in action. So if I click there and then go down here to this valve, then it snaps into that valve as well. And I'll click there. And so that created a water line, but I want to keep going. So that if I zoom out a little bit, here's another little thing you can do. If I'm creating a feature and I want to keep going, but I can't see to where I'm going to go, it'll be nice if I could use the pan tool. So I can use the wheel on my mouse to zoom in and out until I see where I want to go. And another thing you can do is you can hold down the C button, and when I do that, the hand tool comes up, and now I can click and drag, and when I release a C, I'm back to the editing. So I want to go down to this valve, I'll click there. Okay, so now, I'm going to click C. I want to go down to this corner here, and I want to do two things. One thing I want to do is, I'm going to make an L-shaped turn there. And I know exactly how far I want to extend this water line on my map in this direction, and I want to get it exact. Okay. So I'm looking at the text right now because they told me in here somewhere exactly what this. Oh, come on. Hold on. They tell me exactly how long to extend it here somewhere. The text is so small. Come on. There it is, 58.5 feet. So if I want to extend this line to the next click, if I right click, can right click anywhere, right click, and then there's all these options that come up, and one of them is extend by distance. Draw a segment at a specified distance from the last vertex. So I'm going to click that, and here I'm going to enter 58.5 feet, and hit enter. So now it's created a line segment that's exactly 58.5 feet from the last vertex, but I can still rotate it. I can still rotate it in any direction, but the length is fixed. Okay, but I also want it to be in a straight line from the last vertex. So that means in angular terms, the deflection I want from the last vertex in the water pipe that comes in is 0. So right click again, and one of the options is deflection, and make that 0. Enter, and there it is. So everything was constrained, it created the next vertex. Alright, so now I'll hold down C again and pan over here, and I'll connect to this valve, and then I'll zoom in here, and oh, that's interesting, they don't even connect there. I'll connect to that valve, and then I can click this button down here to finish creating this water line. I could have also double clicked, but I'll click that. Now that water line's done. Let me select this and see if I can fix that. Just move that vertex up there. There, now they connect. Water lines usually connect like that. So after you're done making a feature and editing features, you got to click Save up here. Save all edits, yes. Okay, and so now let's click this new feature we created. Let's select it. Okay, it's selected, and then let's look at the attribute table for it. And everything's null in here. I've created that attribute from scratch, and so there's nothing in there except for p diameter. Remember, I made that default 4, so it automatically sets to 4. But I could change it if I wanted. Maybe this isn't a diameter 8 pipe. But now I could go in here and code what I want these values to be for this pipe, and then click Apply. Another thing you can do, let's close this. So if I'm creating another, let's create another water line. So let's clear all my selections and create a new water line. Okay, and I could start creating on this map. This little blue arrow right here, if you click that, the attribute table comes up, so you can fill in the values you want for the feature you're about to create before you create it. And then when you create it, it'll stick. All right. Well, what about, let's see what other tasks we can do here. Okay. Let's zoom out. And let's turn on water pressure zones, and let's zoom to extent. Let's zoom to that layer. Oh, I made it editable. I wanted to see it though. There are water pressure lines. And we'll turn off valves and water. We'll leave water lines on for now. And in the editable, let's make the only thing editable water pressure zones. And we'll make water pressure zones selectable. That's the only thing selectable. Okay. And so what we're going to do is there's this, let's explore here a little bit. If I click on this zone right here, that's water pressure zone 2. And let's say that the scenario that's laid out for us here is this water pressure zone. Here, let me select it. The city has divided this water pressure zone somewhere down the middle, and it's merged the lower half with this water pressure zone down here. Okay. So let's what is that? That's zone 6. So zone 2, the lower half of zone 2 gets merged with zone 6. So what we want to do is we want to split the polygon that represents zone 2 into 2 polygons, and then we want to merge it with the other one. So let's do that. So we're going to come in here, and we will split it. Oh geez, some kind of in between these there's water lines up here, water lines down here, and there's a creek in between here. So we're going to kind of split those polygons along this creek right here to create this new water pressure zone. So how can we do that? Well, in the editing toolbar, there's these tools that you would commonly use up here, and one of them is split. So clear all my selections. So with this polygon selected, the one I want to split, if I hit the split tool, close this, and I've already selected the zone I want to split, water pressure zone 2, and I'm just going to kind of draw the line that I'd like to split along, you know, something like, oh, double click there, and then double click to finish the split, and it did it. So it's split that zone 2 into 2 levels, into 2 things, 2 polygons, and they're both called, right now they're both zone 2. Basically, let's see if we click explore, so object ID 8 is the original zone 2, and this is object ID 6, it's also zone 2. So it created a new object ID, but the zone is imported from what you previously had. And the shape areas and lengths are recalculated to reflect the new geometries. All right, and now we want to merge this with 6, zone 6 down here. We want to merge this lower half of 2 with 6. We want to merge these two. And we want to make sure that this part that was zone 2 is now redesignated zone 6. So how are we going to do that? Go to Edit and use the Merge tool. So when you do Merge tool, here it's clear all. We need to select the features we want to merge. Hold down the Shift. Okay, so those are the two things we want to merge. In Merge Feature Attributes, what we want to do is we want to preserve. We want to click on this one. We want to preserve the zone of zone 6. So now both of these regions get designated zone 6, and then click Merge, and it's done. Click there. You can see now all this area is now zone 6. So we've broken off part of zone 2 and merged it to zone 6. Redefined zone 6. All right, so this tool is called, these tools are called Split, where you can split polygons, and Merge. You can also split lines. You can't split points though. There's no such thing as splitting a point, but you can split lines. Okay. Let's see. Let's go. There's a water line somewhere in here that somebody lazy made. Oh yeah, right here. So somebody lazy made this. Here I gotta make water pressure zones not editable. Let's make water lines editable and water lines selectable. And okay, so here's this water line. This water line. Oh, nope, I don't want. There we go. Okay, so this water line right here is supposed to go along this street. And I don't know, some GIS professional was not being very professional this day, so it kind of goes crazy. So we want to move this water line to follow the contours of the street. All right, so what we'll do is we'll select it, and we turn off the Merge tool, and we'll go to the Edit tab, Modify, and we'll go to Reshape Edit Vertices. So I'll click that. When you click that, see all the vertices of this line feature pop up on the screen. And now I can move them around. So I can move them over here so this water line follows the contours of the street. And it looks like, you know, I could add another vertex here to make it better. That's what this tool's for. So click there and then click there to add a vertex. And now I can move that on the street. Then when you're done, click this button here to finish, and I've moved the feature. And then once you're done editing, make sure you click Save, so you save all the edits. Otherwise, they won't be saved in your geodatabase. Alrighty, let's see. What about, let's see, let's look at the wells. Wells. Look at wells. Zoom out. Somewhere there's a well that's on here by accident. Where could it be? Let's clear all selections. Turn off the valves. Turn off the water lines. Where is it? It's, nope, not there. There it is. So this well is not supposed to be there. Okay, so let's make it selectable. Let's make the wells layer selectable. Let's make the wells layer editable. Or maybe it was supposed to be there, but now it's dry, so you want to get rid of this well in your data set. It's really easy. Make sure it's editable. Make sure data in that layer is editable. make sure it's selectable, and then select that feature. There it is. And go to the Edit tab, delete, it's gone. And now you save, and that feature's gone from your featured class. All right. That's enough for today. Anybody have any questions before we wrap up for today? Let's see, are you still listening to me? Well, it looks like 17 of you are out there. I know that there's more than 17 in this class. Any questions? Looking at the comments. Oh boy. We are so blessed to be able to do GIS. It is such a blessing to live with technology. It's also a curse. Not GIS, just technology. So we can do the practicum online to practice correct. Yeah. So James is saying we can practice the practicum. Yeah. So next Thursday, you'll come into lab during your signed up time. Starting from scratch, you'll perform the practicum. But I fully expect you to do it ahead of time and to know what you're doing. And that's not cheating. That's practice. Okay, I fully expect you to do the practicum ahead of time, so that when you come in, you want whatever you do ahead of time, you can't use in lab next Thursday. All right, but the knowledge you gain, the process you go through, the workflow can be identical, and you come in and you perform, turn in your result, and you're done. Okay, does that make sense, James? Any other questions? I think I might go get some coffee. That sounds good right about now. All right, gang. I don't see any other questions. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling like, this stuff is starting to click. Just yesterday I was talking to people in admissions about our program and about GIS and about our recent graduates. And I think of all the skills that our students are learning while they're in school, GIS, having some skill in using a GIS is very marketable, and having that on your resume when you graduate is a big plus. And I was saying that two of our recent graduates became GIS professional number 1 and number 2 for the city of Martinsburg, and they mainly do stormwater studies, mapping the city's stormwater system, coming up with a stormwater management plan. But I'm sure their jobs will expand over time. So it's a really, really useful skill set. I kind of equate being out for an environmental scientist or someone who's engaged in environmental professions. Knowledge of GIS and the ability to use GIS is sort of like equivalent to being able to do Microsoft Word for word processing. Anyway, with that note, I will see you guys tomorrow. So don't forget to sign up for whatever time slot you want to come in, and we'll be working on lesson 4 in class tomorrow. And you won't finish with all of it. We'll spend another week, I think, on lesson 4. But that's what's on tap. I'll see you then. All right. Take care.